debrief. So I'm going to tell you all of my recommendations on how to make sales from the internet. And the first thing is you cannot manage what you do not measure. The most important thing to measure is just real simple. It's how many people start here, go here, click this button. So these are the funnel steps. So these steps need to be programmed. And then there's some in between, but they need to hit this blue button right here. And when they hit that blue button needs to start firing in this. So let me just jump to another company real quick. And let me just show you a couple things. So this is a food company and this is a bakery, and they do e-commerce sales. And so they ship all around the world. So they're in Texas, but they're also global sales. So here's their conversion tracking report, and we're just tracking goals and completions. And then they have email signups. Now they're not tracking phone calls, but they should be. And so I'm coaching them in on that. But you should track phone calls as well, and you should track these online chats. So there's certain goals that people do that are like KPIs. When people do online chat, that's like highly likely to result in a sale, right? But it depends on the nature of the chat. And there's like a few other things. So that's a conversion or a goal, but that's not a money-making event. It's an indicator that money might proceed next. But when somebody hits that checkout button, I mean, that's for certain that money should be happening and firing. Like there should next be a credit card processing, and then there should be money. And so that's what we look at here in the e-commerce report. So see, this is in just the last few days. Here's revenue, orders, purchases, and then we come down here, we can clearly see the source of where it's coming from. Now, a real common problem is like PayPal or some of your credit card processing tools. Sometimes you might have an attribution problem where you need to fix that, and then other times you can see like that's AdWords, that's organic, that's Bing, affiliate sales, Yahoo, email. I mean, it's pretty clear, right? I mean, it should not be ambiguous from click to purchase in your tracking. And so the other thing that I think is needed here, I don't see the SKUs or product naming convention or anything that can tell me which ones they're ordering. So I'm certain you guys have that just based on how it's organized. It's got to be in a database and then how that's structured. But it's not, I can't see it in the code. So that's something else the developer needs to send, is they need to tell us what people are ordering, right? So like, here's the SKU, right? So here's the category, but what's the product? I mean, we need to analyze for that. So see, that's what I think yours would be showing is not set. And then if I come down into this, so this is something that's super important for an e-commerce company, is your funnel. And just to see where people are exiting or if they're abandoning. So this is what you want to see from shipping. See how from registration, they only lost 4 people. And then going straight down, they had 100% success, but a 30% success on the funnel. See, they put in 557 people started the checkout, but for some reason we lost 70% of them, right? And so that's where full story comes in as well. But when you set this up, you know where your abandonment's coming from and you can fix it. So this is like phase 1 of what needs to happen really before you do any marketing. And until you do this, you shouldn't do anything. Yeah, I wouldn't spend a single dollar on advertising or marketing until you have the tracking set up. And that's normally it's like a quick process. I mean, I normally tell people 10 days to 4 weeks. From what I can see in your development environment, it would probably be done in 3 days to a week tops.
Yeah, I mean, I've already, Leanne is fantastic, and I've also given her a heads up, like there's going to be some development time, so it's not, I used to work with implementations, like it's not going to be a holdup for you guys.
Sounds good. Sometimes I just don't know what the development resources are, and sometimes they can do it quick and fast, and that's what I like to do. Is I like to do a working session, show them what needs to be done. I can give them portions of the code, but I'm not installing the code. But I can watch when they install the code, or I can test it and tell them if they did it right, and then verify it. And then I can also make sure they're doing it in the right environment. But we're not going to install the code for you, but we can coach them along. And it's like a share screen, just like I'm showing you, except we are maybe using the chat to pass code back and forth, or I pass the screen share to her. She shows me her work environment, and I just say yes, no, push live, test, and then we're done, right?
Okay.
And
yeah,
so
good. I mean, it will be a priority for us over the this next week. So I have no problem about it.
Okay. So that's phase one. That's the analytics and the tracking. And so I'm pretty much done with that aspect of it. I might come back, but do you have any other questions on that, or you want me to move forward to the marketing piece now?
No, move forward to the marketing piece.
Okay. I don't know how well you know this, but I know that you've done some pretty smart things. So this is where you might need to tell me to speed up or slow down. I'm going to go from this to this. Okay. So, and then I'm also going to change so this is I set this up for you specific for this demonstration to show you exactly what we would do as like an outline. Then on the follow-up call, you might give me some revisions, and then I would add that to this, and then we would expand this. But let me just show you, and then feel free to interject or ask any questions as we go. Okay. In step one, you turn on the marketing. All you have to do is quantitative analysis. Basically, you're getting clicks, the cost per click, and then you're just looking at stuff like click-through rate and quality of clicks. But you're not in quantitative analysis, you're not measuring qualitative. Qualitative is sales, order values, transaction counts. It's all the stuff that's in here. That's qualitative analysis. But in this, both. So I'm going to go to our account, and I'm going to show you a few different business-to-business companies and how they use AdWords to get smarter with their business, but then also how to get more sales. So there's like two aspects of this, okay? Here's us. Change it to the last 30 days. We have proven campaigns, optimizing campaigns, and then a remarketing campaign. We are tracking money, activity, engagement, leads. Our leads is a phone call or a contract form. That's a conversion rate. In your case, you're going clicks, and then these conversions should be checkouts, okay? Mm-hmm. If I scroll down here, this is what you're testing for. This is what's happening in the business model. In phase one, you're experimenting. In the first 100 clicks within the marketing to the website, you're not getting good results. Between 0 and 1.9% are turning into checkouts. And what you have to do is you have to experiment and test and figure out which clicks lead to purchase and which ones don't. And then in optimizing it, in phase 3 optimizing, you know you're getting sales. You're just trying to optimize to get more sales. In the optimizing phase, you're probably not profitable yet, but you're trying to get there. And so in phase 1, 2, and 3, that's your proof of concept, and you keep your budget small. Okay. In phase 4, proving, you have campaigns. So going back to here, we have proven that these campaigns have profitable sales. We've proven it. Yep. We know that we have the margin, and we can say, well, let's get more of this. And that's what phase 5 is. You've proven that the campaign strategy is profitable. And so if I go back to this, we have PPC expert at a 9% conversion rate and AdWords expert at 11% conversion rate. And if I change something and go to all time and then change this data set to all time, I'm going to show you something super interesting on this. All keyword groups. So you could call me an expert or a consultant. So if you just look at those two groups, so look at the amount of demand, and then click volume is about the same, but the click-through rate changes, the cost changes, and the outcome radically changes just by changing one word from expert to consultant, okay? And then look at the difference in conversion rate. That's a big difference in the cost per conversion. It's the same thing that's going to be true to you. I don't know what it is. So over here, in just the preliminary research, I looked at buffet catering, lunch catering. Okay, so like if we go in here, these are the words that are potentially where your customers are at. And then we show, so they target these words. Now in the settings, if I go to the campaign settings real quick, we're doing 20 mile around DC. So I don't know if that's too big, but that's about this area right here. Okay, so we're targeting people this area. They're targeting these words, and so what you're experimenting and testing for is which words have intent to purchase and which words don't. And we can kind of jump ahead and know that certain words will have it, but like box lunch, that's kind of generic versus lunch catering near me. That's super specific. And then if we go here to buffet catering, they say lunch buffet catering or buffet platters to order versus party buffet. So there's a difference between party and lunch. And then in another category group, what's real common is ordering sandwiches, right? So on the sandwich, I know y'all don't do sandwiches, but you could have an ad that says, hey, way better lunch than sandwiches. Order the bento boxes or order from these 5 menus. So then that's where the ads come in, right? And so here's a few ads that I wrote, just real brief. I'll let you look at those.
Okay.
And then they basically click to the website. They click to the website, or we can have them click to a specific menu. So like we can write an ad specifically for the menu and be more specific on like chicken breast and vegan and signatures. And I didn't do vegan versus gluten-free and stuff like that, but that's how we would expand it because certain people want that. But I just kind of was more broad and said awesome lunch or catering ideas. And I just tried to be a little bit more broad with it.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely right too. Cause like I after I talked to you initially, I went through like all the other big catering sites who I know have spent like a ton of money doing this. And I was like, you know, it's like order online, you know, corporate lunch delivery, like, so yeah, I think experimenting with all of them and, you know, for us understanding like the power of what the restaurants can provide for conversions, right? Because it will help us choose the next best restaurant.
So that's how you get smarter with this, and that's how you use analytics as your competitive advantage, right? And so I picked up on a little bit of that. Let me show it to you. So in phase 1, it's get the tracking set up. And then phase 2, it's get the marketing set up and start doing the experimenting and testing phase. When we get to the optimizing phase, then I'm coaching you guys and helping you grow sales. But we're not, I mean, you have to go through experimenting and testing before you get there. I think those will go pretty quick, like 2 weeks, and we're done through that, and we're in the phase 3. But I saw something in your traffic report. I did pick up on what you were just saying there about leveraging the restaurant's data. So I found some stuff in here that I thought was super interesting. And I saw like bounce rate and engagement. And so this is where you're getting traffic, but for some reason you're losing them. Now, because the tracking isn't set up the way I need it to go from click to purchase. I don't really care about the other shit. I just need to know that. Are we getting sales? And then if we're getting sales, we can improve it. But if we're not getting sales, then it means there's something wrong. And then the other thing I need to know is conversion rate by word or conversion rate by source, because sometimes what we'll find in the traffic reports or the audience is right down here. Maybe you're getting people from the wrong location, right? And so that's happening to you now. But see, the most of your traffic's in the U.S., but see that now we're looking at bounce rate in the U.S. Well, I don't care about everybody else. I only care about this area right here, right? So now we have this many potential users. This is new, and this is how many new customers we have. Of the new, we're losing 45% of them, okay? And then of the ones that are staying, they're staying for almost 3 minutes, right? And the average is about 4, and then the average is about 4 here. Well, these two things are super freaking important in your success. Why? Because it's step 1, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. Something's broken right there. So that's page 5. I'm not at page 6 yet. So I have to at least get to page 6 or page 7 before I can purchase. But when I got to page 6, something broke technically here in my user experience, right? You can find that. You will find that in this report. right here in your browser report, your mobile report. I assume if this is like office workers, they're primarily ordering on a desktop. But maybe they're researching ideas on mobile. And so then it becomes cross-device. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We also have a functionality where if someone orders, let's say like a 35-person lunch, they can send out a link and then to the individuals eating, and those people then pick their lunch. So when I looked at full story, we were seeing mobile on like the individuals who are clicking through for their individual specific lunch, but we do see a lot of office workers on desktop.
Gotcha. So that's how it kind of comes together back to the targeting. I mean, when I go back here, we have some options. So there's certain things I'm trying to segment traffic. I'm going to jump way ahead. I'm not going to show you the whole presentation because I don't think it's really important to you yet. It's basically this: who are your customers? These people, like these are the people that are eating, but who's ordering? Is it this guy and this guy? You said no, it's this young lady and this young lady. So then we dive into the demographics and psychographics, and we can see that here in their interest or affinity categories. So you start seeing like, where do my customers come from? Well, if you had e-commerce set up, we would see revenue in these columns. Okay.
Yep.
And so when it comes back to the targeting, if we know that our customers come from desktop, then we're going to block mobile, right? So don't spend money on ads on mobile and block it. Or maybe we have two different types of campaigns running. We have a desktop campaign for bottom of the funnel, and then we have mobile campaigns for research ideas, like catering ideas and words like that. So you need some awareness, but you need direct response sales. Like you need click to sale, but then you need the research to sell as well. So normally you start with the bottom of the funnel and then build up, right? And so that's basically how this comes together. Now, when you get going back to here, let me show you a few things that I think are super important to the testing plan. It basically goes like this: campaigns, words, ads, pages, in that order. You set up a campaign, you get 500 clicks, then you start optimizing when a keyword gets to so many impressions. When a keyword gets to so many clicks, you do other optimizations. When a keyword gets conversions or checkouts, you do other optimizations, okay? Same thing with an ad, same thing with the pages. So if we get 100 or 200 clicks to the page and it's not converting, we need to change the page, right? And I just showed you one that was super obvious. Like, I don't know what's happening here with the footer, but basically the footer is overlapping the pop-up, or the pop-up is under, so I can't complete this, right?
Yeah.
And so now, I mean, so I'm a tech guy and I can work through this problem, right? But I mean, now what the hell, right? So I can't fix the problem. Now maybe you're IP targeting me and you know that I'm in Dallas, Texas, and you're blocking me from doing this, or I don't know, but there's some issue happening right now that I can't get past this. So what am I going to do? Say, oh, screw it. Back up. You guys suck. I'm going to go to somebody else, or just hit office lunch catering. That is easy. People will probably type that in. Catering that delivers, and then they're saying Sunnyvale. I'm pretty close to Sunnyvale, actually, where I'm at right now. And then see how they have these things. So that's Easy Cater, so we should copy what they do. And then look at what Zoe's does, and look at the top players, and then do things like this. And it gets, some of the stuff we can't do, like gift card or address, but some of the stuff, you know, why reinvent the wheel? Just copy what other people are doing great and do that. And then you'll get, that's what speeds up the process.
Yeah.
But it goes, you set up a campaign, you drive clicks, you optimize the clicks and the ads, you go to the page, you quickly make sure that the page is working, or you can adjust the targeting, you know, desktop specific or mobile specific. There's different things. You remarket to some people in your audience, but not all people in your audience. Like, you want to remarket to the event planners, but you don't necessarily want to remarket to all people. Or maybe you do remarket to all people, the people that are eating your lunch, and you show them new menu ideas for their next event, right? So that's where the display comes in. So like if I go to weather.com, sure you've seen the ads that follow you around. Sometimes they're super annoying, and then other times they're, so I used that service the other day. If I go to Smart Marketer, I can log in. I don't even know what the thing is. Let me click here, log in. So see, it's already giving me my account. I just logged in. So that's remarketing. You can use this within AdWords. You get smart with it by using analytics and using this data and setting up your remarketing campaigns around that. You normally don't do that until you're like in phase 4 or 5. So normally in the beginning, you just set up campaigns and you're trying to prove out, can I make this marketing work? It works for all these other companies. Can I make it work for me? You go through experimenting, testing phase. That's the proof of concept to just get to sales. Sales is phase 3, optimizing. At that point, you know for certain. Like it was on that other bakery that I could show you source and revenue. And then you have to optimize to get to your margin that you want. Once you get to your margin, then you scale. So that's how it comes together.
Okay.
What questions do you have or what thoughts?
No, I mean, I think it's, you know, what's helpful for me is too, what I like about you is just kind of upward managing me, right? Like in a way that's like, this is what I need. Give me the list of keywords. Like, yeah, I mean, my question is how you all do this, like based on your company, like who's doing all of the work? Is it you? Is it your team?
There's different people that do different responsibilities, but one thing that we do is, so we built the software. We have integrations, so we'll install this. Here's the companies that are using it. Here's the agencies that are using it. The agencies, like them, have clients. Here's a small agency with a small client list. So the reason why this is important is we would install this on your website too. And it tells us different stuff like click fraud. So if I go to this report, here's the click fraud report. So humans can't do this. It's too hard for them to. They can't keep up with it. The other thing that we do is this. We data mine conversations, and I'm about to show you that. So first off, here's phone calls. We're recording phone calls. Here's call recordings. If I go here, we're taking the call recordings and transcribing them to text. So we data mine text, and we're looking for stuff in the conversations, right? Humans can't really do that either. It's too hard, and it's just too much. So here's what we try to do. We use as much automation and coding as possible to optimize your accounts. Now, there's only certain things that humans need to do. It's like strategy. Machine learning or coding can't do strategy. You and I come up with the strategy, and then you and I come up with ad ideas, or I have teammates that you might work with that would help you write ads. Some of the times we just write the ads for you, and then some of the time you give us ideas because you know your business way better than us, right? But we know our business real well too, and we know what works on AdWords. But also, like I said, just catering office lunch. I mean, you don't have to be super smart to figure this out. Just Google that word and see what other companies are doing. And normally the people that are at the top do this well, you know. And so your situation is just slightly different. Just kind of it's not super intuitive, but I think you guys have some good branding. We need to just make the menu a little bit more clear, or show, like, your menu looks awesome. So somehow we got to get people's eyeballs on this as quickly as possible. Once we do that, the problems should be solved as long as the tech works. If the tech is simple and easy to check out and order, then the only other problem that we'll have is the timing. Some people will be trying to order it today versus other people ordering in the future. So we got to solve that problem, is what's going to be the challenge. I think that's the only challenge with this, is the time delay.
Okay. That's helpful.
The procrastinators is what I'm talking about. How do we deal with the people that are doing this, or it's a last minute order? We need to try and get them out of the funnel, because we don't have a way to deal with them or sell to them right now, right? So somehow between the ads and the website, we have to update it a little bit to make that super clear.
Yep. No, I agree. All right.
What other questions do you have?
No, I mean, clearly I think it's good timing for us. This is where we need to be prioritizing to make larger decisions. And I think we now have, like, you know, what makes me more comfortable to pull a trigger on a project like this is like, it's a necessity, but it's also something the business needs, and we have the means to do it. And like, yeah, I want to get moving. I think we have a unique business model. And so I think it's not, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to do it.
I think this will work for you too. I mean, sometimes I just tell people straight up, don't do this. It's not going to work. But in your case, this should work. You should be able to get consistent daily sales from AdWords. And so here's where you got to get to. Okay. So like all this shit that I showed you is just, it doesn't really mean anything until you get to this. Okay. When you get to this right here, you figured it out. Until you've gotten to this, you don't know anything. When you get to this, you can scale your marketing. Keyword report, word, revenue, ROI, revenue per click. When you can figure out your revenue per click, you can really scale and grow your business. Okay. And see here, I've got 1,000 rows of words. Look how many of my rows have revenue to them. Just that many. So on average, it's about 3% of your keyword list will bring you paying customers. So all these other words down here, right, have nothing to do with making me money. So why do I want to spend time messing with them?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and also what's unique about our model is, you know, I think I explained too, right? Like in catering, we eliminate the step of having to taste a catering food before you purchase as a new customer because you know the restaurant brand. We work exclusively with these restaurants, and so, you know, I think what I'm hearing is like my thesis has always been if we can, when we talk about the iframe or whatever, but if people are going from websites to ordering, like it would be faster if they just went to AdWords to say like, if they're going to look at catering, like just.
So I hear you there. I can easily do that for you. So when they target this word, I can make your ad show up right here, just like these are. Okay, that's simple to do. I'll throw two things at you. You might piss off the restaurateurs doing that. I don't know how good the relationship is. I do see this happening often with affiliate marketers or with my manufacturing clients, and their resellers start trying to undercut them, and they take margin from them. And so sometimes it becomes like where we get into trademarks and different stuff. So that's a little bit down the line. I'm just kind of giving you the expectation that you might piss people off doing that. So you need to have super strong relationship, or I know you said the other day exclusive menu. So, I mean, that kind of, I don't know if you're competing with them or not, or I don't know how they would perceive you competing with them and taking their catering business. So that's just kind of letting you know, that's what I see a lot working with other companies that do something similar to that. You know, targeting somebody else's branded, you're targeting their branded keywords with your ad, taking the customers from direct through like a reseller affiliate link. You know,
I don't think anyone would have a problem if it was catering. Even if they have their own catering programs and we're promoting like our specific, you know, co-branded exclusive menu. And if there was a conversation, it would be easy for me to navigate with our current partner set. And also like they're all used to, I mean, to your point, OpenTable does it. I mean, OpenTable is so notorious for restaurants where if you're not even on the OpenTable app for reservations as a restaurant, and let's say like the restaurant is Fainting Goat, right? And it's like reservations Fainting Goat. It will come up as OpenTable, and then it'll be like, oh, they're not currently on our platform, but here are 3 other restaurants just like it to make a reservation at. So that's what these restaurants are dealing with.
I get it. I completely understand, and I agree with you. And normally the restaurants' websites are horrible, and their ordering is horrible, and it's just like, it could be done way better. I've worked with a lot of restaurants, and it's just interesting how they approach this. What, we had Brand come to us last year, and their approach to it we just didn't agree with, and we just said, hey, this is what will work for your restaurants and your, and this is what won't work. And so for certain things, strategy, you have to have like a good strategy. Targeting competitors' names is a strategy, right? And then there's different keyword strategies, and then there's different marketing strategies, and that's where these come together.
Yeah, and I think also for the users that are discovering us on Founding Farmers site, they are consumers of Founding Farmers first, who are typically there looking at menus because they're going there as a diner. But then if they've discovered us from a catering perspective, like that's kind of where it's like, you know, mining those users is for us like key. So. Yeah.
And I think this could really grow. I remember with Andrew's business, I mean, when he started out, it was just the DC area, and now they've gone national, and I'm helping them with national lead gen. Normally that's what you do, is you prove it out a model, like a local model. And then once you have a local model, you can expand to different territories. So I could see you expanding, but you definitely need to prove this out in just one area with these 5 restaurants, and then grow it from there. And then this should definitely work for you. So once you get the Google funnel working, normally you copy the idea or the how it works. You can copy it into Facebook, but you have to adjust with the Facebook ad network. It's not the same ad network. It's the same thing with Bing. Once you get the Google search funnel working, you should be able to copy this into Yahoo and Bing. And so I like Google first, but for your audience, I also like Yahoo, because Yahoo targets women. The Yahoo ad network has more women in it than Bing or Google does. So it makes more sense, you know, just from basics, underlying fundamentals of who we're targeting, you know, to make sure your ads are on the right network. Google gives you the most data and the most control to prove this out. But once you get it done on Google, I would definitely be setting up on Facebook and Yahoo next. I mean, that's how you scale this, and you need to have 4 to 7 sales funnels running. Once you do, you'll be growing like a weed. When you only have 1 sales funnel running or 1 stream of customers coming in, you're not that stable. But and you're also at risk. Like, let's say all your eggs are in one basket, and then something happens, you lose the Google funnel. Well, next thing you know, your sales are gone. I see companies call me up all the time when Google cuts them off or something happens, and then they're just trying to scramble to get Google back on because they don't have customers coming from anywhere else.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, our business is, the traditional catering business has been a telephone business, right? And it's paper and email. And so I think we're catching it at the right time and catching users at the right time. And so yeah, I mean, I think one tactical question is, for voice recordings, like what's the recommended mechanism for carrying that out for phone conversations?
Well, you have options on there. There's some different vendors. I'm going to say that we have a good option that you should look at, and it can install pretty simple. So I actually just set one up this morning for this company in Kansas. If I go here, we basically add the website for the tracking. This syncs to Google Analytics. I can add a phone route, just click of the button. And then as far as the coding goes, we can do this right here is alerting us that we just got a phone call. And then so it's in 5 seconds, my phone's going to ring. Here's what installs on your pages. The reason why that's important, so we're able to see the word and the revenue. And here's our phone call list. And we do all kinds of analysis on this. So we're able to see where your customers are coming from. We're able to see if you're answering your calls or not. If your folks are not answering your calls, I can send you a text message in real time when you're missing calls. I can send an email. There's a lot of stuff with this that it does. So I would recommend you use this for call tracking. I think Intercom is pretty good for the chat that you have. And then Google Analytics is what I would use for e-commerce and revenue tracking. This normally takes, the phone tracking piece normally takes like 15, 20 minutes to set up from start to finish. And then you just pass the code over, your folks install it, and then we do a test, and then it's ready to go. It just forwards to your number already. But it goes into Google and tracks it as well. So that's how that would work. What other questions do you have?
Well, but the number it tracks to, does it, you have to have like a Google Voice number, right?
No. We can program the number for you. So.
Okay. So anytime, like, so let's say, because what I'm thinking is we have a salesperson, right? And so she'll get calls to her personal, like her cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
That won't be the Google number sometimes.
Well, let me ask you, why are you sending calls to her cell phone first?
I mean, we're not sending calls to her cell phone. It's more of just like we've inherited clients, and it was from her personal, she was making them from her personal phone.
Do you want those calls tracked?
Yes.
Well, there's two things you can do on this, okay? Number one, just give the customer the phone number that they should be calling and tell them to quit calling her cell phone. Now, the other option is if you have gotten a lot of customers that are using her cell phone and you're worried about that from like a business perspective and trying to protect the customer relationships, have her port the phone number in, get her a new cell phone number, and then you port the number to yourself basically. So you own her cell phone number moving forward. And then the customer keeps calling that cell phone number, and then we just point it back to her, and then they wouldn't know the difference. The only difference, you would know the difference and she would know the difference because you ported the number. And you might want to think about doing that depending on how many people she has calling her cell phones. Like the customers are your asset, right? And the relationship or the customer relationship is the asset. And if she leaves you and goes to Easy Catering or leaves you and goes to some other company, does she take the customers with her because they're calling her cell phone? Like that's how it kind of comes together in the future.
Yeah, we definitely need to reroute it.
And so there's two options, but if the customers are already conditioned and already calling her cell phone and texting her, then they're probably going to keep doing that. So that's why you need to port the number over. And she may not like that idea, but I think it's important, right? And so the other thing this does, to go back to here, we do SMS. And so like here's our SMS. So here's people texting me. And then if you just go in and open the lead, here's the lead record. And then here it stores the conversation. The same thing with the phone calls is it stores the conversation. I don't know what CRM tool y'all are using, but we can use Zapier or we have an API and we can post the phone calls into your database. The same thing with these. So you should do that too.
Okay. I mean, we do have Zapier.
Awesome. So it's kind of like step one, the analytics. Step two, get the marketing. Step three, start getting sales and optimizing that and collecting the data and improving upon it. And so that's how it comes together. Once you've proven out that it's a profitable and you have your margins, then you scale the funnel. You get basically, you spend more in ad dollars. You prove out your ROI. You keep your ROI maintained where you want it, and then you grow it. And then you go to the next funnel and the next and then the next. And then next thing you know, you've got sales coming from all over.
Okay. Yeah, no, so you answered my question there. And I guess, how do we move forward?
You got, let me show you something.
I mean, my only other question is, so it sounds like you guys, I mean, part of the benefit too is like what do you do with our data?
We data mine it for you so we can figure out what works and what doesn't to optimize your sales funnel. That's what we do with it.
But like if we, you don't, what do you end up owning, I guess? Like if we stopped working with you guys, like do we get all of our data back? How does that work?
So a few things. You keep the analytics account. You keep the AdWords account and you keep the data within that. And then within funnel science, if you needed to export something like export the phone calls list, you could just go to the phone calls and export the phone calls, right?
Okay.
So you could, oh yeah, download CSV right here. The other thing, but to be honest with you, you should already have the phone calls. I mean, you should be storing these phone calls in your database, right?
No,
so they
I mean, it's more not what we do, but more what do you do? So like if we stopped working with you guys, do you delete this phone call data?
Oh yeah, we just archive you and turn it off. We don't keep storing the data.
Okay, that was just my question.
Yeah, we don't preserve it. I mean, it's not. I mean, what am I going to do with catering customers in DC or catering clicks in DC?
I have no idea.
Nothing.
No,
I mean, but what we do use is our strategies. I mean, the same strategies that I've used for other restaurants, I'm going to use for you. That's not going to change. The same process that we've done for other restaurants is the same process for you, and the same thing we're going to do for all others. So for us, it's not really the data collection is super important when working with you. But after we're done working with you, or if that stops, I mean, there's nothing we can do with it. It's not something
I
understand.
I just wanted to ask.
Yeah. I got you. It's a super smart question. Few people are smart enough to understand to ask why to ask that question. So I do appreciate it.
No. I mean, I also came from healthcare, so I have like an ultra sensitivity to it, even though I probably like don't protect our data as well. But yeah, so in terms of next steps and how the engagement looks, like, can we chat through that?
Sure thing. So phase one in the analytics setup, it's normally $2,500 for us to do the work. And I don't think we're doing any of the work. I think we're coaching your team on how to do it and doing the quality control. So I'm thinking at $750 is what it's going to take. But I'm just giving you a range. If we had to do the whole thing, as some reason they can't get it done right and we have to take control, it's going to be $2,500. I'm basically charging you for consulting, and I'm thinking within 3 sessions working together or 3 screen shares, it's a done deal. Like step 1, install. Step 2, verify the data. Step 3, reconcile, and then move on. That's how simple it should be. But if we're doing step 1, install, step 1, install, step 1, install over and over and over again, I'm only going to do that twice before I say enough's enough, and we gotta get it done right? Because that will be holding us up. Then, when we turn on the marketing, you have a few different options. I think you're here, but you might not be. You might be one of these, and you might be level 1 or level 2. I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know so I need but that's the range, right? And so you're basically looking at around $2,000 to $3,000 a month.
And so this includes the budget, or it doesn't? Because wait, your last screen, it showed
This includes the budget. This one doesn't. And we're doing 2 levels of service. These are small business packages, like accelerators for startups, and you're kind of like that. But then you're also already gaining traction and already have sales. So this one doesn't include the budget. This is for more of my medium to enterprise size clients that are growing and trying to get hundreds of customers a month.
My big thesis is, like, the business that we're in. So generally, a restaurant that does catering, like a fast casual or whatever, like Chipotle does 6% of sales is catering, and Corner Bakery does 28%. So most places should be doing around 15%. Like, we work with, which is probably an $80 million business, and they have 0 catering for the most part.
Wow.
So, like, for me, the way I'm looking at what we're spending, like, as a business, our business is to, work with 60 restaurants in DC. We have 5 now, but like, we can build a big business just off of founding So I say that with the mind of like, hey, if we get this right, it allows us and affords us to experiment faster with other things. Are you a venture capitalist now?
All right. So if you were taking 15% of their revenue and maxing this out, you would be spent, and then on a healthy advertising and sales budget, that would be about 10% of that. So you're looking at about an annual advertising cost of about 120,000 is what you're looking at, is what your advertising expense should be to be in that range. Okay. And so normally your advertising should be like 5% of revenue, and your marketing should be about 5% of revenue. So it's total 10%. So 10% of your revenue is your sales and marketing expense for a healthy business model. Okay. I mean, that's just like basic business book math.
Yeah.
I don't know what yours is exactly, but if we were at 10%, we're healthy, right? And so sometimes you can go up to 20% or 30% sales and marketing expense, but other times you can't. Depends on the average order value. It depends on how many repeat orders you have. It depends on customer lifetime value in a SaaS model. There's different factors that go into it other than just the ad cost. So yep. At 120,000 a year in advertising cost is not this, right? At 120,000 advertising cost, you need an expert managing that for you, and that's where the management service comes in yet. But see, the problem is you're not even ready for management. Like that, you're not ready for some of this stuff. You're in the experimenting phase because none of this is running yet. So that's kind of why I showed you the accelerator packages. I think your level 1 or level 2 is where I think you're at. I don't think you're ready to grow and start spending $3,000 a month on ads. I think you need to spend $1,000 to $2,000 a month on ads. You need an expert to manage it for you. And then after a couple months of spending around $1,000 a month in ads, we've proven the concept. Then we're ready to spend $5,000 a month in ads. But really where you need to be at is between $5,000 and $10,000 a month in advertising costs, right? To get your type of volume that you're talking about. So that's the scale up plan.
Okay.
Month 1, $1,000 in ads. Month 2, $1,000 in ads. Month 3, you should be at $1,500 to $2,000 in ads. Month 6, you should be at $3,000 to $5,000 a month in ads. I don't know how quickly you can scale volume, but I think since you're just collecting restaurants, your main issue is going to be delivery in your capacity. It's going to be collecting and delivery. The logistics is probably your toughest challenge to scale up here. To build the funnels and build the sales, that's easy, but the logistics is where you'll have to kick in.
Yeah, I mean, as a business, just so you know, like there's 5 of us and we have one, our CTO right now. So like we prioritize, and I'm like you, like we spent the first 18 months figuring out the food.
Yeah.
So, and selling and all the pain points and the behaviors, and then we built, how people we thought were ordering and go from there. Like we did not, we were not tech heavy, et cetera. So, yeah, so I know we're it's almost 9 or 10. So then, how do we get started?
Well, you just tell me which one you're comfortable with, level 2 or level 3, and then I'll email you the SLA via HelloSign. It's an e-signature tool. You just review it and sign it, and then we can get started this week. It normally takes us 3 to 7 days to get scheduling done. I think we could schedule with your team on Friday and have the first. We need a kickoff meeting just between me and your team, maybe 30 minutes, and then quickly go into the setup on the analytics. So we should just schedule like a longer meeting on Friday or Monday and then get that going. So phase 1 would just be a statement of work. It's basically 3 sessions of analytics consulting to install e-commerce revenue tracking. And then that's when we're done with phase 1, we move to phase 2. Phase 2 is the marketing setup, the AdWords, the phone tracking, all of that. That should start in about 2 or 3 weeks. So that's the other SLA that I'd send you. One's a statement of work, one's an SLA. You sign those, you pay the invoice, we get going. And then it's a monthly service. It's month to month. You can stop at any time. And so you just got to give us 30 days notice if you're going to stop. We stop the billing, stop the AdWords, and then that's it. Sometimes companies start and stop and restart. Like they start, they learn, hey, it's not working, they retool, they fix it, and then they turn it back on after they fix it, right? And
okay.
so that can be normal, but once you prove this up, I mean, you shouldn't turn it off unless you're out of capacity or going on vacation or some break or something like that, and then you turn it back on. Some companies that we work with are spending thousands of dollars a day on ads. That's how much customers they're getting, and they run unlimited budgets. So that's kind of where you want to get to, is ask me at some point, how do I run an unlimited budget? And at that point, you want to spend as much money because you know you can get as many customers as possible, but there is a diminishing returns on it. You can't spend infinitely on advertising dollars and keep getting customers. So it's how do I spend unlimited as long as you're getting sales?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, I guess the difference between for us is, like, could we start with level 2 and then after month 1 go to level 3?
Oh yeah, you can always upgrade. I mean, that's how these are designed. They're designed to scale up with you. In the beginning,
yeah, I mean, if you're saying the recommendation is to do level 2, like, I mean, I think the difference is mostly just the spend on the ads itself, like the dollars and text ads, banner ads. And
hold on. That's completely wrong. I got to stop you and cut you off because that's the wrong thought. The dollar amount spent is how quickly we collect data. The quicker we process and optimize the data or analyze the clicks, impressions, and outcomes, the quicker and faster we optimize the data or learn from the data in data sets. The quicker we get 500 clicks, the quicker we get 1,000 clicks. So listen, some of my clients get 1,000 clicks a day. So we're optimizing it every single day. But if we're running a small conservative budget, you might not get 1,000 clicks for the whole month. So it might take my process a whole month to turn over one time. Well, so imagine if you got 1,000 clicks in 12 days, I could optimize this in 12 days. But if it takes you 1,000 clicks per month, it might take me 12 months of data collection to get it where it needs to be. Okay. And normally it's between 5 and 10 optimizations between 30 and 90 days, and you're seeing sales. That's the expectation. But if your budget's so small that it takes forever to collect the clicks and get that data, then it's going to take forever for me to get the results. So that's the main difference. It's how quickly we're collecting and doing the work.
Then let's do level 3.
Gotcha.